We look at, youth services. Where are they? Where are youth centres? There are some youth centres, but if we go back 10 years ago, there was a lot of youth centres and there was a lot of youth engagement. We're looking at the rise of mental health. Young people are becoming more anxious, more depressed, PSD. We're talking about trauma, multiple traumas. Yes, young people are supposed to hold accountability for the things that they do, but we can't ignore all of the surrounding factors that are affecting them every single day.
Strong words from Craig Pinkney several months back during the height of youth violence in the West Midlands. Fast forward to now, and we sat down once again to reflect on the current state of youth affairs. So Craig, it's been about 18 months since, there was a big uproar in Birmingham with the gun violence. It seems to have slightly settled down a bit now. Sort of 18 months on, what's your reflection on everything and how things have been?
I think in a very weird way, a lot of the things that we discussed 18 months ago kind of happened. I don't like to be a person that kind of says, told you so. But as an individual that's kind of invested in trying to make sense of what's going on within our community and someone that is passionate about change, sometimes when you kind of say things, people don't understand what you're talking about until it happens. I think one of the things that we don't talk about enough is the concept of fear. Now, I'm not saying that fear is the main problem, but for me, fear is a major issue within the society. If I was 14 years old right now, I'd probably carry a knife. So you remember me talking about why young people are becoming quite violent. You might remember me talking about, I think that fear is a major issue amongst our young people. You might remember me talking about, I think that a lot of young people are traumatized. But then you look in the public domain now, and the conversations that are taking place are reflecting what a lot of us have been saying, that we need to start looking at this issue as a public health issue. We maybe need to start talking about trauma. We might need to start talking about the impact of trauma on young people. So we're at a stage now where it's quiet, but I challenge this concept of quiet. What does quiet mean? Because it's only not too long ago we've had a number of young people that have been stabbed. We've had a number of young people that have lost their lives in the Midlands. So what does quiet mean? Does quiet mean that it's not in the news every day? Maybe. But that doesn't demonstrate whether it's calm and quiet in the community. And I would assume that if people have lost their lives, if people feel that there's been an injustice that's happened to them, then that calm might not last for a very long time unless we've engaged with some of those issues that are essentially out there. So my reflections are a number of things. I think that, one, we need to continue the conversation about violence, but we need to shift the conversation to, okay, well, how are we going to strategize of engaging with the violence, and what does that look like? So one of the things that we always talk about is we need a public health model. You hear the Mayor of London talking about public health. You hear about Scotland Yard now talking about public health. Now, what does public health look like? Public health has now kind of been like the buzzword for calming people's hearts, that I say. So when people say, yeah, we need a public health issue, everyone's like, yeah, public health. Then it's like, okay, something else happens again. We need a public health issue. And we say, yeah, okay. So what's happening is, yes, that the conversations and the narratives are going in the right place. One of the things that we're now failing to do is kind of understand what that public health model might look like within the UK that's realistic and something that's going to help young people in the next 10 to 15 years and beyond. So my argument now is about, okay, well, how do we shift those conversations, and where is it appropriate to shift those conversations? And are we well informed enough about these particular ideas? Because it's something that I think that it's something that we should at least start to consider, something that we should move forward to. And there's loads of individuals that I look up to, and there's loads of individuals that are advocates of this idea, and individuals that are involved in this type of work in different parts of the world. So the learning for a lot of people, or at least the wider society, is, number one, what does it look like, and what can it look like within the UK? How realistic is it going to be? Financially, how is that going to impact us? And most importantly, how are we expecting it to change in our communities? So it's a conversation that we need to continue having.